What is faux collaboration?
I've had probably the best example of faux collaboration I've ever overheard in my life a couple weeks ago. I was at a restaurant and there was a husband and wife, and they were clearly engaged in some pretty deep discussion. And one of the spouses said to the other, "What does it feel like to always be right?" The other spouse said, "It's a burden." I'm over in the corner, I'm laughing my head off. I'm thinking, what a great response. Nobody's laughing at the table. And so I kind of looked the other way at that point. But the point is that obviously there's a lot of discussion. And it appears like they're collaborating, but somebody's always making the decision. And it's one person making the same decision every time. And it's not true collaboration if you're quote unquote winning every time. And every employee has been in that situation at one time or another in their career, or will be, where they go to a meeting and they know the decision has already been made, they've been asked for their input, but it doesn't really count because the decision has already been made. It's faux collaboration. It's the illusion the illusion that you're participating when in fact you're really, really not. And I believe that is one of the reasons why so many people feel not engaged in their organizations, feel it's disingenuous. It's not a true partnership like it should have been for that couple. It's literally one side wins all the time. And if that's the case, then you are probably participating in theatrical exercises that look like collaboration, but they're really not.
It happens all the time in organizations. It could be between two people, supervisor and employee, could be a small group of 3 or 4, could be a larger group of 12 or 15, and it could be that, as Phil says, the decision has already been made and they're trying to announce it and get a head nod for buy-in, but there's no intention to listen to other ideas. Or it could be less, I'll use the word malicious, it could be less malicious than that, and it might be an attempt by a leader to bring a group together of whatever size, ask for input, but the way the input is asked for and the dynamics in the room cause everybody, or most people, to realize that the leader already has a strong opinion of what needs to be done and isn't really listening to other input. Or the other dynamic that happens is there's another loud voice or two in the group that takes over and causes everybody else to be quiet when there may be a sea of other great ideas there that need to be surfaced, and they never surface because the environment isn't safe to surface the ideas for someone who isn't quite as strong-minded.
Yeah, the idea of faux collaboration is that the person leading it actually wants capitulation, quote unquote buy-in sometimes, rather than consensus. And in some cases, obviously, you can't do that as an organizational leader. Sometimes tough decisions have to be made. But far more likely, in many circumstances, you can bring people together around consensus. And at the very least, they feel like they've been heard and that there are different points of view that are out there, and some accommodation is made for it. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why there's so much cynicism in so many organizations in regard to these collaborative opportunities that are out there.
And people don't feel like their voice is heard, or even that their voice is appreciated. And that's the dynamic that flips from lack of engagement to engagement, when people feel like, oh, my idea was heard and at least considered. There's a magnetism to that you can't duplicate by force. It happens instantaneously by handling it properly from a leader's perspective.